Hey everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of the Bioterminal Classroom with ArduPi. So in this episode, I will teach you how to build this awesome looking musical keyboard on the Bioterminal. So I have used the three buttons, the 5-way switch, the built-in buzzer and the LCD screen on the Bioterminal to build this demo. So if you stay until the end of this video, you will also be able to play this keyboard on your Bioterminal like this. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. At first, let's look at the built-in functions in the machine module. So I have explained to you before about this in the first video of the Bioterminal Classroom with ArduPi video series. And in this video, I will give a quick summary of this pin function and the map function before we move on to using the three buttons, 5-way switch and the buzzer on the Bioterminal. So let's connect the Bioterminal to the PC and turn it on. Now open Putty. So I have explained to you in my first video how to install Putty on your computer. So you can go back and check that video to get started with Putty. And here I will change the appearance, change the font to 16 size, go to session, select serial, and I will select COM4 because the Bioterminal is connected to this PC on the COM4 port. And click open, press enter, and now you are inside the REPL environment. So I have explained to you about REPL in the first video of this video series as well. So you can go back to that video and check more about REPL in that video. So when using the pin function, let's type from machine. So that's the machine module, import pin and type pin dot and press tab, and you will see all the functions inside the pin function. So the pin function has built-in calling methods to configure the GPIO of the connected hardware. So if you want to use different hardware with the Bioterminal, you can use the pin function to define the connected hardware pins. So for example, in here, pin 3 is set up as a input pin, and in here P3.value corresponds to reading the value on the pin 3. So this is similar to the digital read command in Arduino. So it will either output 1 or a 0, 1 for high and 0 for low. And when you type P3.value and type 1 or 0 inside, it will set the pin 3 to high when it's 1 and it will set to low when it's 0. So this is same as digital write command in Arduino. So when we use the three buttons and the 5-way switch on the Bioterminal, we can use the P3.value command here to check the status of the button press. So if this outputs a 0, that means the button is pressed, and if it outputs a 1, that means the button is not pressed. And this command can be used with the built-in buzzer on the Bioterminal. So when you set to 1, which is high, the buzzer will beep, and when you set to 0, which is low, the buzzer will stop beeping. Also, when talking about the map function, when you type from machine import map and type map dot and press tab on the keyboard, you will see all the functions inside the map function. So these are the built-in hardware on the Bioterminal. For example, the Bio 5S up, down, left, right, these are the 5-way switch, and Bio key A, B, C, these are the three buttons, and this is the inbuilt mic, Bio mic, inbuilt light sensor, Bio light. So this map function can be used to easily access the board peripherals on the Bioterminal. So now let's look at the three buttons on the Bioterminal. So here you can see on top of the Bioterminal, there are three configurable buttons. And when you use these buttons in your code, you need to make sure to define them as Bio key A, Bio key B and Bio key C. So this should be combined with the map function. So this is the 5-way switch on the Bioterminal, and it can be switched up, down, left, right and pressed. So you can use Bio 5S up, down, left, right and press these pin definitions with the map function to use the 5-way switch in your codes. Now let's talk about buzzers. So what is a buzzer? So normally we use piezo buses with Arduino, and piezo buses, they contain a piezoelectric vibration plate within an enclosed case. So the sound is emitted when a voltage is applied and this piezo element inside the case vibrates. So there are different types of buses, and they are active buses and passive buses. So an active buzzer has an internal oscillating source, and the buzzer will sound as soon as it is energized. So these kind of buzzers communicate with an Arduino via the digital interface, and they can be easily driven by a simple DC voltage input. So this is the Grove active buzzer. So when talking about passive buzzers, they don't have an internal oscillating source, and they can be driven with square wave with different frequencies. So this wave will be more like a PWM input, just like an analog input, where we will send a high signal for short period of time and a low signal for another short period of time, and a high signal again, low, high, low, high, low. Like this, we will send a PWM input to control this kind of passive buzzer. And this kind of passive buzzers also communicate with an Arduino via the digital interface. So if you want to distinguish between a passive buzzer and an active buzzer, what you can do is you can connect the buzzer to a battery, and if the buzzer sounds, that means it is an active buzzer. So if the buzzer doesn't sound when the battery is connected, that means it's a passive buzzer. So the wire terminal also has a built-in passive buzzer. So if you look at the front of the wire terminal, here to the back of this enclosure, there is a passive buzzer soldered onto the PCB. So these are some of the specifications of the passive buzzer that is used inside the wire terminal. When we want to use the passive buzzer on the wire terminal, there are three ways to configure. They are using the DAC on the wire terminal, using PWM on the wire terminal, and sending a square wave to control the buzzer. So before we move on to talking about these three methods, let's first talk about PWM, which is pulse width modulation, because we will use PWM in all these three methods. So PWM, which is also known as pulse width modulation, is a technique for getting analog results with digital means. So here digital control is used to create a square wave like this, and a signal is switched between on and off states. So this on and off pattern can simulate voltage in between full on and full off, which means it can generate voltages between 3.3 volts and 0 volts. So here this duration of the on time is called as the pulse width, and as you change this pulse width, you can change the analog values. And to get varying analog values, what you need to do is you need to change this pulse width. So basically what this does is this creates an analog like signal. So now let's move on to talking about using DAC on the wire terminal. So DAC stands for digital to analog converter. So the wire terminal has a DAC which is 12-bit, and if you want to use DAC, you can use the DAC or the PWM pins on the wire terminal. So since this DAC is a 12-bit DAC, it has 4096 DAC values, and the DAC value range is between 0 to 4095. So to create DAC on the wire buzzer pin, you can use this command, and if you want to create DAC on the wire buzzer while changing the resolution of the DAC, you can use this command. Also, this command can be used to write DAC values to the buzzer. So using this command is similar with the analog write command in Arduino. So you need to keep in mind, when using DAC on PWM pins, the resolution on the channel will be only 8-bit. So now let's go ahead and test this. While the wire terminal is connected to the PC, you can go to File Explorer and go into this drive, ArduPi drive, and open main.py file. After that, start by including the pin map and DAC functions from the machine module. After that, import the time module. Then we need to create DAC on the wire buzzer pin. So here we will create a new variable called buzzer and equal to DAC, use pin function, and inside the pin function we will use the map function. So map dot, and we will use wire buzzer as I have shown you before. After that, let's write this value to DAC. So now let's save this file and you will hear a buzzing sound. Now let's move on to talking about using PWM on the wire terminal. So to use PWM, you need to use the PWM pins on the wire terminal. PWM can be created on the wire buzzer pin by using this command, and the current PWM frequency can be checked using this command. The PWM frequency can be set using this. The duty cycle can be checked using this. The duty cycle can be set using this, and the PWM on the pin can be switched off by using this. So all these PWM commands can be used in one line like this. So now let's go back to the main.py file and delete this and get rid of DAC and replace with PWM function. We are calling this from the machine module. And then create the PWM on the wire buzzer by initializing the variable buzzer equal to PWM pin function and then map wire buzzer and set the PWM frequency to 1000, set the duty cycle to 250. Go to file, save it, and you will hear this buzzing sound. Now let's send a square wave using digital signals to control the buzzer. So normally when looking at a square wave like this can be considered as a time period, that is for one cycle of the wave, and one time period is equal to the inverse of the PWM frequency. And here we will be using time period in microsecond units, so this needs to be multiplied by 1 million because 1 second equals 1 million microseconds. So we will be sending square waves with different frequencies, and according to these different frequencies the buzzer will generate different tones. So the sound with 8000 Hz frequency will have a higher pitch than the sound with the 4000 Hz frequency. So what we will do is we will set the buzzer pin to high for half of the wave and set it to low for the second half of the wave, and high again, low, high again, low, and this time duration is very small. So now let's go back to our main.py file and delete this, and we don't need this PWM function, so we will delete this as well. And now let's assign variables for PWM. So first we will assign a variable called frequency, and let's set it to 4000. And then let's assign another variable called cycle, so which will be this, the time period, this one cycle. It will be 1 million divided by the frequency because we will be using the cycle in microsecond units. After that, let's create another variable called half cycle. Let's equal to integer cycle divided by 2. So this half cycle will be this length, half of the wave. So I have changed this data type to integer, and I will show you why I have done this later in this code. After that, let's set the buzzer pin as an output. Then let's create a function and let's set the buzzer pin to high for the first half of the time period. So here I will specify the time duration, which is this half cycle. So this adds a microsecond delay, and the delay is specified by the number from the half cycle. And the time.sleep command only accepts integers. But previously, when we did calculations with half cycle, we get a float number. So that's the reason we converted the half cycle into an integer. After that, let's set this buzzer pin to low for the second half of the time period. Then let's type this. So this is to check whether this is run from main.py. After that, add a while loop. And finally, execute the function. Now, let's save this. And you will hear this buzzing sound. So now let's go ahead and build this awesome looking musical keyboard on the Vaio terminal. So we will be using the 3 buttons and the 5-way switch to control the buzzer pin, and as you press each and every button and switch, the buzzer will generate sounds with different frequencies. So these different frequencies correspond to different notes. And also when you press these buttons and switches, the corresponding note will be highlighted in black color. At first we need to draw this keyboard. Here I have drawn this keyboard using Gravit Designer. So in my second video of the Vaio Terminal Classroom with ArduPi series, I have explained to you how to use the Gravit Designer to draw different graphics so that it will be easy to transfer the coordinates and draw on the Vaio Terminal LCD screen. However, in this video I will not explain how to draw each and every shape, but tell you how to get the coordinates from the shapes. So here I have created rectangles with black borders, and here I have created rectangle with fill colors, and here I have drawn different text. Also I have drawn these guidelines so that it will be easy to find the starting location of this text. So when you press on this rectangle, if you look at here, you can see the X position and the Y position, which is this location, and this is the width and this is the height. So we can transfer this coordinate information into our code. Also for the text, to get the location of this, for example, we can choose this line. So this X axis value will be 95 and this is the Y axis value, which is 180. So let's go back again to the main.py file and let's add here as LCD, because we will be using the LCD function from the machine module. And let's change this function to buzz, and that will be the function to generate buzzer sound with desired frequency. So we will add frequency here. And let's delete this part and copy this, paste it here. So this function will be used later in this code. So for the function name here, I will add another Z. Now let's do the configurations for the 3 buttons on the Vaio terminal. So we will set the button pins as inputs. So this is for the button A, and we will copy this and paste it twice, setting this to button B and this to button C. After that, let's do the pin configurations for the 5-way switch. So here this is for the up switch, and let's copy this and paste it 4 more times, and do for the rest of the switch pins as down, left, right and press. After that, let's create variables for reading the current button and switch states, because later we will be using this in our code. Then let's create another set of variables for reading the previous button and switch states. So for this we will copy this and paste it here and change all this to old. After that, initialize the TFT LCD screen. Then fill the background in white color. After that, let's draw this keyboard on the LCD screen. So first we will draw these big rectangles with black border. So I will show you how to draw this first rectangle. So select this rectangle, type lcd.drawRect. The location will be here 0, 0, 0x, 0y, and the width is 40 and the height is 240. 40, 240, and the color will be black. After that, repeat the same procedure for these rectangles. Now let's draw for these black color fill rectangles. And repeat the same for the rest of the colored rectangles. After that, let's draw these note labels. So first let's set the text color to black. Then let's set the text size to 3. After that, draw the text string. Let's draw for C first, and to get the location, select this vertical line and the x-axis value will be 15, and select the horizontal line, y-axis will be 180. Repeat the same for the rest of the note labels. Now let's move on to writing our main function. So type this, and that will be the main function. After that, inside this function we want to use these variables. So in Python, if you want to call variables which are outside the main function, you need to make those variables as global variables. So let's go back up here, copy this and paste it here, and delete this equal to 0. Make everything global. Now assign global variables for reading the previous button and switch state. So let's do the same like before. Go back to this, copy this, paste here and make them global. Now let's write a while loop after this, and we will write the rest of the codes under this while loop because we want these codes to run over and over again. So we will assign these variables to read the current button states. So let's copy these and paste here. After that, let's assign them to read the button and switch values. Next, let's type the commands for the buzzer to buzz with the required frequency when C is pressed. So let's type note C, and here let's write an if loop. So here it checks whether the value of the button C is 0. So it becomes 0 when the button C is pressed. Normally when we use buttons, they often generate false open-close transitions when pressed. That is due to mechanical and physical issues. So these transitions are sometimes read as multiple presses in a very short time. So to get rid of this issue, we can debounce this input, which means we are checking twice in a short period of time to make sure the button is definitely pressed. So to debounce the input, we can have another if loop. So here in this condition, it checks whether the old button state is not equal to the new button state. So if it's not equal, the old button state will equal to the new button state. After that, let's draw on the screen. So if C is pressed, then we want this to color in black. So let's copy this. This is for C, and paste here and change this to fill. After that, let's set the text color to white. Then let's set text size. Finally, let's draw this C again in white color. So this is to draw C. And after that, let's call the function we defined before, the bus, this function, and set the frequency. So for node C, the frequency is 261. After that, let's write an else. So this is when the button C is not pressed. Copy this same debouncing input and paste it here. So here when the button was pressed, this turned into black color. So if the button is not pressed, we need to change this into white color again. So copy this and paste here. And we will draw a black border around this note. So let's copy and paste this, change this to draw, change the color to black. Also we will color this in black. So for that we have drawn before this one, the first one, and paste it here. Finally, let's copy this, the text drawing part, and paste it here, and we will change this from white to black. Because when the button is not pressed, it should be a black color text. I'm sorry, here in the if loop, I forgot to add a colon. Also here. So now let's do for node D. Copy this code under node C and paste it under node D. And change all this to B. So change the button C to button B. After that, here should be fill node D in black color, and for node D the value before was 40 in next location. So here should be node D, and the text string should be D, and the location here before was 55. So 55 here, and also here should be 55 with the text string D, and for node D the frequency is 294, and when the button is not pressed, it should be filled node D in white color. So this should be the same as this 40, and this is drawing the black border. And after filling the node C sharp, we also need to fill this black note. So to do that, let's go back here, and you will see the second line, this corresponds to this black color rectangle. So let's paste it here. Now let's do for this node E, and copy this, paste it under E. So change this from B to A. I'm sorry, here before in the comment it should be noted 294. After that, here should be fill node E, and the location was before was 80, and the string was E with the location 95 here also. So fill node E in white, location 80, and this is for the black border, and we don't need this, just keep the D sharp note filled in black color. Now let's do for node F. So just like before, copy this and paste under node F, and change this button A to switch left. After that, change this from E to F, and the location to 120. Do the same here, 120, and the border, this one 120. And here we need to fill the note F sharp in black. So for the F sharp note, the location is 145 X, and the text string should be F, and the location here should be 135. Here should also be F with the location 135. Finally, the frequency for F note is 349. Next we will do for note G. So copy this and paste it under G, and change this from left to right. After that, fill node G in black when pressed, and the location, X location will be 160, and change this also, fill G 160, and drawing the border, the black border, also 160. And for the upper black notes, let's add another note here, that's to fill G sharp and the location 185. Now let's change the strings. So F to G and the location 175. The same here. Finally change the frequency to 392. So that's the frequency for note G. After that, moving on to note A. So copy this and paste it under A and change this from right to up. After that, change this to A and the location to 200. So here also A 200 and the border 200, and here we will get rid of this and add another line after G sharp, which is going to be A sharp note, the black color filled rectangle, and location 225. Then let's change this text string from G to A, location 215. Do the same here, and finally the frequency of note A should be 440. Moving on to B, copy this and paste here, change this up to down. After that, change this to B and change the location to 240, and this also B and the location 240. Here should be the same for the black border, and here we can get rid of this line G sharp note and change this A to B with the location 255. Do the same here, 255, and the frequency for note B is 493. Finally, let's do for this note C. Copy this and paste it under this. After that, change this from down to press. Then this should be fill note C in black and the location 280. So do the same here, and for the black border also. And here we will fill with note C sharp, the location 305. For the text string, we will change from B to C with the location 295. Do the same here. And finally, let's change the frequency of upper note C to 523. After that, keep this line to check whether this is run from main.py, and let's get rid of this while loop. Just keep this, because once we run this file, this main function will start executing. Also, I want to mention that if you go up in the code, this section of the code from here to here is drawing the keyboard at first. So this code will only run once because it's not inside this loop. And if you don't include it, it's completely fine, because for example, when we ran this while loop and when we press this button, this note C got filled in black color. So this one filled in black color, but it stays in black color until I run this else statement to make it white again. And filling in white is not just enough, it should be filled in white plus this rectangle as well. So that's why I filled the C sharp note in black color. So similarly, for every other note, after every press, I have written these commands inside the else statement to display different parts of the keyboard again. So all these else statements under these notes combined together form the complete keyboard. So that is the reason you don't need to include this in your code. However, I included it in the beginning just to show you how the keyboard can be drawn on the wire terminal LCD screen. So it's just for your reference. However, it's up to you to include this in your code or not, and there will be no effect of including it or not. So if you want to comment it all, just highlight from here to here and then press Ctrl plus the / on your keyboard, and it will comment all these codes. Now go to File and click Save. That's it for this video. If you guys like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay updated with us. So, see you guys in the next video.